During our winters, there's rarely a shortage of cold and snow here in Minnesota.
But a St. Paul company is ushering in a new ice age, making artisan ice cubes for craft cocktails. In this week's Maury Stories, Maury Glover tips his glass to Minnesota ice.
I would say they're a pretty big deal, especially with the dining experience. I mean, people are going out to experience food, but they also want to experience a great cocktail.
On just about any night of the week, you'll find people bellied up to the bar to get a taste of a few craft cocktails. But one of the ingredients in these intoxicating concoctions is leaving the others out in the cold.
It elevates the cocktail as a whole.
At Revival St. Paul, there's nothing old-fashioned about the ice in its classic drinks. It's crystal clear there's something different about the huge cubes of ice, and they make customers melt.
People are trying to get creative with their cocktails any which way they can, and ice plays a big part in it.
The artisanal ice, as it's called, is made by a company called Minnesota Ice, based in St. Paul.
So what we're seeing here is the 300-pound block maker. So this is one of the machines that actually makes the 300-pound blocks.
The company started about 5 years ago when owner Robbie Harrell started an ice sculpting business with a friend as part of an entrepreneurial project at the University of St. Thomas.
You're as cold as ice.
But they soon realized the ice sculpting robot they built could make some cold, hard cash, carving 2-inch by 2-inch squares for bars and restaurants in the then new craft cocktail scene.
We stopped out to Eat Street Social, which was a, one of the original craft cocktail bars. And I asked this gentleman, I go, "Sir, like, where do you get this ice?" And he goes, "Oh, we actually, take 300-pound blocks down in our basement, and we hand chip them up into these cubes." And I went, "Holy cow, like, I've got to learn more why they're doing this."
Since then, Harrell's idea has snowballed into 280 bars and restaurants around the Twin Cities. His company's artisanal ice cubes come in all shapes and sizes, from oversized cubes and cylinders to shards and rods to fit different types of glasses. They can even etch a client's name or logo onto the cubes, making the cocktails they are in signature showstoppers.
What happens when you get, like, you're at the Hewing Hotel and they have our cylinder with their logo in it, and the first time you see one of those go out at 3 o'clock at the bar, you get all these other people at the bar saying, "What's that? What's that?" And so they immediately, more get ordered, they get Instagrammed, they get shared on social media. It's just, a lot of places are using marketing and advertising budget dollars to purchase ice.
Minnesota Ice charges about $0.25 a cube, the fraction of the cost of an average craft cocktail. But to some, spending that much on ice is stone cold crazy.
You've got a nice cocktail and a nice bourbon and the rest of that. You don't want it to be diluted. And so if you have an ice cube with no air bubbles in it, it causes less dilution but keeps your drink cold.
At their new facility in St. Paul, workers freeze about 200, 300-pound blocks of ice with no air bubbles in them a week, then break them down into 22,000 cocktail-sized cubes. They use the extra ice blocks to make sculptures, bars, and just about anything else made of ice you can think of.
It's been a wild ride. Starting in my garage when I dropped out of college to tell my parents, "Hey, I think I'm going to sell ice for a living." They looked at me like I was crazy. 4 or 5 years later, here we are.
But whatever happens with the craft cocktail boom, Harrell hopes his artisanal ice will always be cool.
As people continue to develop on the craft cocktail scene, you'll always need a good piece of ice to go inside of there. There's no real other material that can do the job better than a crystal clear piece of ice.
In St. Paul, Maury Glover, Fox 9 News.